Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Season 4, Episode 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. titled The Good Samaritan. Before I get into my review, I just want to say that there will be spoilers. This is probably one of my favorite episodes of the season so far, in what has been a season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that has been very good in my opinion. This is the episode where we get the backstory or origin story of the Ghost Rider, specifically our version of the Ghost Rider. Well, the version in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of Robbie Reyes. But we get a very special cameo by the Ghost Rider, the one who rides the motorcycle, the one with the leather jacket, Johnny Blaze. In this episode, we get to see how Robbie Reyes got his powers. And what we learn is that he got his powers directly from Johnny Blaze. But before we see how Robbie Reyes gets his powers, we see a very different version of the Robbie Reyes character that we've seen up until this point. We see him as kind of this cocky, irresponsible, kind of almost joyful type Robbie Reyes. And the version we've had so far has been very dour, very moody, very serious Robbie Reyes. So it's very interesting to see the contrasting characters from before he became the Ghost Rider and after he became the Ghost Rider. And I really like in this episode how it was structured, how balanced it felt, because the whole episode wasn't just an origin story. They were able to show us the origin story through flashbacks while also remaining in the present and giving us further progression of the overall storyline. So it was very nice to see that they didn't need an entire episode and we were able to get all of the information we needed. Unlike some other shows who will take an entire episode to show us the backstory of one character, we don't really need that. We just need enough to make us understand who this character is. But when it came to the plot in the present, we got more of S.H.I.E.L.D., or specifically Agent Coulson and his team dealing with Lucy Bauer and the Darkhold book, as well as her capture of Eli Morrow, the uncle of both Robbie and Gabriel. But what we learned in this episode, through a very interesting twist towards the end, is that Eli Morrow is the real bad guy behind all of this. He is the one who turned this team into these ghost-like spirits. He is the one who is power-hungry and mad and wants to start controlling matter on his own. That was a very interesting twist that I did not see coming, and they really held that secret back a while because I rewatched the episode twice to see if I could see certain hints of the twist happening before it happened, and I really couldn't. They really did a good job of keeping that very secret. But before we got to that twist, there was an interesting scene where the present director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jeffrey Chase, sent Simmons off on some type of special mission that we are not really sure what it is, because all we got to see was her being handed a black hood and being sent on her way. We got really no follow-up to that, so we're going to have to wait for that in an upcoming episode. But what we did get was he taking a tactical team onto Coulson's ship and reprimanding him and essentially doing what he has to do as a director of S.H.I.E.L.D. when one of his agents steps out of line. And as we know with Agent Coulson, he likes to operate on his own outside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So he takes this tactical team onto their ship and he demands Daisy Johnson and Robbie Reyes, because these are two fugitives from the law as well as fugitives from S.H.I.E.L.D. Daisy Johnson being a vigilante and Robbie Reyes being kind of a cold-blooded murderer. We really, as viewers, need to keep that in the back of our heads when we watch the show, is that yeah, he's really this cool character, but he's also viciously murdering people. Granted, the people he is murdering are not really great people, but still, the act of murdering is pretty immoral. So we get this great scene between Jeffrey Mace and Coulson kind of having this battle of wills in a way. Coulson's trying to play off the whole situation, trying to cover up things, while also trying to stay in line and not lie to the director. It's very interesting what he tries to do because he wants to protect both Daisy Johnson and he knows how big of an asset the Ghost Rider is, specifically in the operation that he is doing. But Jeffrey Mace is kind of straight-laced, at least in this moment. He was a little bit leewayed before, but now he is very much having to do what a director needs to do, and that is be very tough, very straight-laced, and not really go along with what Coulson wants. And this kind of back and forth culminates in a rather cool scene, in my opinion, where Robbie Reyes once again transforms into the Ghost Rider because this Ghost Rider seems to have a mind of his own. There's really an interesting theme of the duality of man when it comes to the Ghost Rider character within Robbie Reyes. He seems to be this bloodthirsty spirit bent on vengeance, and Robbie sometimes can't control when he comes out, as I think we saw in this episode when they were boxed in that containment unit. He was able to escape from it, which really goes to show how powerful the Ghost Rider is. This is a character or a entity that they really haven't dealt with before, even with the whole Inhumans aspect of the show that they've been developing along so far. And we also got to see a lot of character depth, I believe, when it comes to the Robbie Reyes character, and I think Gabriel Luna is one of the best additions to the show, I think, really since the show started. That may be saying too much, but he is really bringing an A-plus performance when it comes to his character in this show. And in this episode, when he is discussing what happened on that fateful night where he and his brother were in that car accident, or in that failed hit attempt, essentially, and he is really has all these underlying emotions about failing his brother and wanting to get vengeance for his brother, and taking all of this burden on himself because he feels so guilty about that, and we can kind of see it in his face and see it in his and hear it in his voice, and it's really, really well done. So overall, as I said early on, I really loved this episode of the season. I think it may be my favorite of the season so far, probably is. Hopefully the episode just get even better from here on. But with that being said, I really like the backstory of Ghost Rider. I really like the progression of the present story that they're constantly giving us in every episode. So this has been my review of Season 4, Episode 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., titled The Good Samaritan. If you like this video, please check out my other episode reviews for the other comic book related television series.